Welcome back, everyone. What's going on? Another day, another Monday, another week. More snow outside, so that's kind of crazy for this late in the year, or this time of year, but it happens here, so not too unusual, I guess. Today we're going to talk about promoted listings and do they really work? So let's take a look at the first store. If you're new here, I have two stores. Main reason is I bought crappy stuff, didn't know what I was doing. I ruined my first store, so now we're liquidating the stuff, most of it. And I said, let's start a second store. So we did that in January, early January. Um, so the second store is it's been banging along 14, 14, 18, 18, 22, 8 today. It's going pretty good. The goal of getting rid of the items that don't meet our metrics anymore. That's a nice way of saying crappy items. Um, it's pretty effective, the strategy we're using right now. So we're just going to continue using that, continue getting rid of those items and replacing them with better items. Sometimes, it takes 2 or 3 sales of these bad items to go be able to buy one good one. So um, that's just life. You make mistakes, you pay for it, and hopefully you learn from it, which I feel I have. I feel I've learned a lot from the mistakes I've made early on. We're about 3.5 years in, and so it's good that we continue to learn. And now I feel like probably in the last month, maybe two, I've learned even more to take me to the next level. Um, and one thing about eBay, you got to have patience. It's not going to happen overnight. So, I'm only adding one good item a day in this first store, revising 15 to 20 old ones every day. That's the strategy for that. Let's flip on over to the second store. Remember, this is just over 2 months old. We have 330 items listed, I believe. And let's just hop down to the sales. It's all over the place, which you would expect for a small store. As soon as I said, hey, we've been having a lot of sales every day in a row, then we have 2 days to have no sales, and today we haven't had a sale. So I think eBay's listening to my videos. Not really, but sounds funny. Okay, so when it comes to promoted listings, okay, what's the point of promoting a listing? To get it sold faster, right? So, in my opinion, if I promote my listings, the thing I'm going to look at is one, which isn't as important as number two, but number one, am I getting more organic views on my items? Two, am I getting more page views? Views in general or impressions, they mean nothing. You can have 100 billion impressions and that means nothing. It sounds good, but it means nothing. You can have a lot of impressions as well. That means nothing. Page views, that means a lot more. And obviously sales mean the most. So it's not how many people see your item necessarily, but how is that conversion rate going to people clicking on that item and then purchasing it or another item? And that's one thing you don't know is, did the person come to my eBay store off of a pair of jeans and then buy a t-shirt and not buy the pair of jeans? It'd be kind of cool to know that information, but I'm sure there's a lot of technology involved with that. So let's look at the first thing. Are we getting more organic impressions? Okay, so you can see here, we didn't start promoting until March 10th. We had promoted previously, but I did it for only a week. So I'm not really counting that. This test, it's not long enough to make a defined conclusion, but it's starting to give us a picture of if it's worth it for us to be promoting our listings or just letting them sell organically. Your traffic will be way lower, but it doesn't matter as long as you're selling items. Because again, you see how high my traffic has gone. Yesterday it was 43,614 impressions. Sounds good. We sold one item. Back here with 4,700, so a tenth of the impressions, we still sold an item. Okay? So are my impressions going up? My organic impressions, not promoted impressions, just organic promotion. Organic impressions. So 47 and the 4,700 is down to 35, 31. 4,000, 44. So 44 was our high mark, almost 4,500 impressions. 62, 53, 56, right? You can see that these are all over. Oops, sorry. That's probably the high mark, 11,008. So we've more than doubled our organic impressions. Excuse me, so that's good. But what about our page views? So look at the blue line only on this, or the blue bar graph, because the top part is your um, promoted impressions. So can you see that just about every day our organic impressions, it's hard to tell because, right, there's some days here 47 and then other days here 80. So now what's our high mark here? Probably 86, and our low 56. So they're staying about the same. I don't, again, it's too short of a time period to make a definite decision, but so far, I don't think personally, because you can look at our quantity sold, right? Would you say we're selling more items since we promoted? I don't, I don't know. I don't think so. Um, so let's look at this and count it up. So we started on March 10th. Okay. So there's so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 11, 14, 15, 17, 19, 20 items. Okay. There's 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 14, 16, 17 items. Maybe it's too early to tell for such a small new store which one's better. And we're not top rated yet because we haven't sold enough items. We should get that on the 20th of April. So maybe if we were top rated and a little bit older, the numbers would come out different. So the question still remains, is it worth it to do promoted listings? At this time, no. It's not increasing our sales. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep doing promoted listings because we need to get a longer data set. Another thing is um, the real great test would probably be year over year, doing a year promoted and a year not promoted. But here's some things you can't control, some variables. How many listed? Well, you're going to keep listing items, so your store is going to continue to grow most likely, right? The economy. Next year at this time, the economy could be out of control good, or it could be worse. That's going to affect sales. So you're going to have all these outside factors that you can't control. But all you can do is control what you control and run these tests and just say, yay or nay. Maybe you don't promote at 50%, maybe promote at 2% or 10% or 11.5%. Like maybe you don't promote as high. That's another thing. Again, you just have to look at what works for you, and you have to make sure your, I would say at least make sure your organic traffic is going up and your page views are going up and your solds are going up. Because if I'm not making more money, why am I going to give more money away to make the same amount of sales? It doesn't make sense. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to continue running this test. Like I said, we'll probably run it all the way through April, and then we'll have a bigger data set. Now we are getting into the time of year where taxes are starting to come back. There's still going to be a lot of tax money out there, probably into June, I would say, because people are lazy. There's a lot of people that haven't filed their taxes yet, I'm guessing, that are still, needing to file and will file last minute. Some people will do an extension. So there's money that's going to be coming back for the next couple of months at least, if not longer. That's tax money. So that's some disposable income. Not everyone obviously makes the best choices with their money. Otherwise, our credit card debt as a nation wouldn't be what it is. So you can expect some cash to flow in. I've heard a lot of people say that things have been slower now than they've been in the last 3 to 5 years. Some people have been on eBay for 10, 15 years complaining this is the slowest they've ever seen. Times change, markets change, money changes, the economy changes. There's a lot of things going on right now. So, um, it's one of those things where you have to adapt, and maybe you have to start running promotions, or maybe you don't. I don't know. Maybe you just need to price it a little. Maybe an item that you always got $15 profit on is now only 13. That could be, as things change. That could be. Now, for me, just kind of a sidebar, eBay is not my long-term plan. Excuse me, my long-term plan. eBay is a vehicle to get me to the next level. I don't want to be in 10 years listing items, taking photos, shipping, worrying about going on vacations because I got to put my store on time away. I don't, I will hire someone to do all of this and run this operation, and I will just take X percentage, you know, um, of the profits, and they can run it all because I want my freedom. That's what my money is going to buy me, is my freedom to do whatever I want. So, and then I'll take, how do you get there is you take your money out of this and you put it into something for me, which is going to be real estate, like, buying storage units, buying houses, apartments, duplexes, things like that, that cash flow, and I don't have to worry about it. I once heard that, the true definition of a successful business, again, everyone has their own saying, so take it with a grain of salt, but is if you can step away from that business and it makes money. If it still continues to make money while you're not there, that means you've successfully replaced yourself and the business can really run without you. So I would like to do that with eBay, or just sell it off to someone for $10 billion and retire. Um, that'll never happen, but with real estate, you can buy the property, you can have someone manage it, and just sit back and collect the rents. Sounds great, right? How do you do it? Well, that's a very long video that I'm not going to sit here and explain on an eBay promoted listings video, but you get my point. And I think everyone should kind of have that in their brain if they're going to take this as a serious business of, how do I grow this thing to make it sustainable and then sell it off? Or like, what's the end game? They always say if you're going to start a business with a partner, you should always have a plan, an exit plan in place. If that partnership fails. In this case, I believe if you're going to start a business, you should always have your exit strategy in mind. Am I going to pass this on to my kids? Am I going to sell it, have someone else manage it, whatever? So one way to increase sales and get to that point could be with promoted listings. But I think if you're going to try promoted listings, you should definitely run a test. And don't be like me and get impatient and mess with the percentages and do all this. Just run a test, stick with it. At least I would say probably 90 days, even though you're going to go through various cycles of, seasons a little bit. Um, and just see what kind of feedback you get from running this test. Because you could watch 100 videos about this subject and you're probably going to get a lot of different answers. But how's it going to affect your store, and what should you do? Don't go looking on the internet or some Facebook group or YouTube video looking for what you should do. No one's going to give you the answer. Well, some people are going to give you the answer. You need to do this, but that doesn't mean they're right. You have to, this is your business. You have to run it the way you think is best. Watch videos and learn, and then come to your own conclusion. Don't believe everything you hear. Don't believe everything I say. Always do your own fact checking. Figure out what works. And if you're scared to promote, then promote 20 items, 50 items, 100 items at 2% and just see what happens. I guarantee you can lose 2%. How much is 2%? Well, for every dollar, that's 2 cents. So if you can't afford to lose 2 cents of every dollar, then your profit margin is way too low. So I recommend trying it on 2% and just see what happens. Okay, I'm getting a lot of impressions, but it's not converting to sales. So what would happen if I up the percentage? Or do I need to run my test for longer? Or am I promoting the wrong items? Like if you have a rare item, I wouldn't promote it. I would just let it sell organically. But if you have common items, maybe you do need to promote them. So that's my advice to people that are looking into promotions, or maybe you're already doing promotions. Run a test. Figure out what works for you and figure out what it's going to do to your traffic. And look at one thing it's done to my traffic, right? My top 20 search slot impressions have gone down because I'm not getting as good of traffic. So you can see the rest of the search slot impressions is going up as well as non-search now. If we go back to when I wasn't promoting, let's just try November. We weren't even in business. So look at this. So see how different this is, right? Like here's the first time I tried the promoted back in January. But you can see how high these numbers are compared to now, right? It's something you have to consider. You have to definitely keep eyes on your business and understand the changes that you make and how they're going to affect your business, because it's your business. I spend a lot of time looking at numbers and different things, and you don't necessarily need to spend as much time as I do. I'm a numbers guy, so I like it. But I also am not doing it as much because, like, when I say as much, like, look at this and then try to break it down even more and more and more, because you can get too involved with the business and then it gets too stressful. Oh, my numbers aren't blah, blah, blah. Well, e-commerce, there's a lot of fluctuation day to day. So you got to try to have an overall view while still understanding what the best moves are. So just run experiments, get that data, take a quick look, move on. Like, don't just sit there and look at it over and over and over like I do. And that's why I'm doing it less, because I can tell it's not productive. Let's put it that way. So I am curious on my external site views. 15600. Now we're at 7. So not a huge change with those. But yeah, that's just what I keep an eye on. That's my opinion on promoted listings. I think you got to do it for probably 90 days. See what happens. If you're scared to do it again, just start real low. Pick, I don't know, probably 100 items. If you don't have 100 items, just choose a number and pick. Start somewhere. Remember, the more items you do, the bigger sample size you're going to have, better numbers you'll have, or better data you will have for your decision-making time. So that's what it's all about. Running a business. Treat it like a business. Try to keep emotions out of it. Just remember, it fluctuates every day a lot. And yeah, just go from there. So good luck. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.